Hey there, hi. My national radio show airs on over 500 radio stations in total. Okay, maybe you used to listen to it, but something changed, you moved, you got busy, whatever. That's why I want to remind you why it's the best show out there. It's the biggest show. So I'm going to let you listen to a recent show. Now, the Kim Komando Show is not Kim Komando today. It's just me and callers and tech news and tips. You're just going to love it. Now, if you like what you hear, you can get the Kim Komando Show on your local radio station or get the Kim Komando Show as a commercial-free podcast. Yes, I said a commercial-free podcast in two places. One, if you're on Team Apple, subscribe to the Kim Komando Show on Apple Podcasts. Team Android, you can listen to the show as part of your Komando community membership. You can sign up now at community.komando.com. That's community.komando.com. Okay, enjoy the show. I always like to kick things off with something fun and interesting, and this is happening over in the Netherlands. The world's first billboard that literally emits the mouth-watering aroma of McDonald's French fries is increasing sales. That's right. And I bet you can know that smell right now. The billboard is about 650 feet away from the restaurant. And I'll tell you, it's just slamming the sales. I mean, why would it not? You know, you're walking by a billboard, you smell McDonald's French fries, and you're like, oh, I need to get those French fries now. Okay, I'm just waiting for the day that McDonald's comes out with a brand new sandwich, and they'll call it the McJagger. Oh, yeah, that was a great one. Hey, listen, you're about ready to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're joining us for the first time, a warm welcome to you and welcome back to our regular listeners. I'm, of course, Kim Komando, America's beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. It's the biggest show. It's the best show. It's the most trusted show about all things digital. You can find us on over 420 top stations across the United States. You can get us as a podcast, as a webcast, as a perk of being a member of the Komando community. And just a reminder, you can also get the show commercial free on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 service members in 175 different countries and 200 ships at sea. All right, just for you, dear listener, I check out at least 35 different websites every single day to make sure that we are both up to date on what's happening in the tech universe. And here are the top 5 most important things you need to know right now. Now, let's talk about if you're online and you're chatting with someone. Okay, how do you really know who they are? Oh, well, you have a video call. Well, not anymore. Let me tell you, scammers have started using face swapping technology to create realistic AI-generated deep fakes, which can talk and move in real time. Yes. This means that deep fakes can be used in live video calls, something that the bad actors have been able to avoid up until now. A group of scammers in Nigeria known as the Yahoo Boys have been experimenting with this deep fake video technology for about 2 years. Well, at first it wasn't so great. You could tell something was off in the video, like maybe the voice was off, it was distorted, whatever it may be. But the tech is here right now, and they're using it for live video chats, deep faking themselves a very attractive model-like men. So if you're on a call with one of them, they're going to dole out all the compliments. Hey, baby, oh, I can't wait to see you. I want to marry you. You are so beautiful. And then they're going to start asking for money. If you are vulnerable, you could be pulled in. I read this story over at Wired, and if you have a chance to watch the video, it's very, very frightening. Number 2 on our list, let's talk about AI girlfriends. Yes, real humans are falling hard for artificial intelligence boyfriends and girlfriends. Tech exec Greg Eisenberg of Late Checkout went viral this past week, claiming that AI girlfriends will soon be a billion-dollar business, like a Match.com for AI girlfriends and boyfriends. He shared the story that he knows a 24-year-old guy. Listen to this. 24-year-old guy spends $10,000 a month on virtual girlfriends. Oh, my gosh. Reminds me of the time you may remember here on the big show, we talked to Rosanna Ramos, who was married to her AI boyfriend. Okay, remember, this is just like an AI boyfriend in your phone. She married him. Not legally, of course. And she says it's the best relationships that she's ever had. No judgment zone. Oh, I don't know what to think about this. I mean, this is the way that our world is moving. And think about all the data that's being collected. It's all going to be sold too. We all know that. All right, moving on to number 3. Here's the problem with always paying for the ransom. We're going to talk about the Change Healthcare hack. You know about Change Healthcare, United Healthcare. But here's the thing. Change Healthcare is really this conglomerate of all these different companies that would process insurance forms and claims. Now, think about everything that's on your insurance form and your claim. Yes, it was hacked in February. They say it was 100% preventable. They didn't do basic updates to their software. So they just reported it cost them almost $1 billion in losses. So let's go back to your health privacy here. Now there's another Russian gang, ransomware gang, who's saying like, guess what? We have access to the data too. And if you don't pay us, then we're going to release all this data on the public. So the bottom line here is this. You need to make sure that you keep track of your medical ID. Medical ID theft is rampant. You might be saying like, well, what does that matter? How is that different from identity theft? Well, medical ID theft is different because here's what happens. Let's say, God forbid, you need a kidney transplant. You go to the doctor and say, oh, we have to have this approved by your insurance. So then you contact your insurance company and they call you up and they say, sorry, we can't approve it because you've already had 2 transplants. You're like, I didn't have 2 transplants. Yeah, that's what happens. All your medical info gets sold on the dark web. They can pretend to be you at a doctor's office, hospital, you name it. Moving on to number 4 on our list of 5 things. Dermatologists are saying girls are getting rashes. What's going on? I read about this in Fortune. Dr. Elizabeth Hushman, a dermatologist in Dallas, treated a 9-year-old girl who developed a rash. It was kind of like a weird rash. Like, what's going on with this little girl? Glycolic acid cleanser she was using. Okay, these products are for adults, anti-aging treatments, adult acne, certainly not for 9-year-old skin. So what's happening is that the kids are going on TikTok and they're seeing other kids, adults talking about, oh, look how beautiful my skin is. Okay, they're pushing retinoids, exfoliating agents like AHAs, BHAs. And then these young girls are watching the videos on TikTok. Okay, so here's the deal. Talk to your young kids saying just because you see it advertised, talked about on social media, doesn't mean that it's good for you. Finally, this coming in from number 5. I normally like to have the 5th story be something happy, funny, inspirational. That's not the case today. It's a horrible, horrible story from Ohio. An Uber driver was shot and killed by an 81-year-old man. He believed she was there in an effort to scam him. The guy's name is William Brock. He was on the phone with a scammer who was trying to extort him for money. That's when Lalitha Hall pulled up to his home in her Uber. Now, Brock thought Hall was part of this whole scam, but she wasn't. In actuality, she got a request via her Uber app to pick up a package from Hall's home. So she was getting scammed herself. That's when Brock turns his gun on her. She starts pleading for her life. The video is so incredibly hard to watch. Stop, stop, stop. Then he shoots. He follows her around the car and she says, listen, I'm just here to pick up a package. He says, I know what you're after. He wants to know the identities of the scammers. And he shoots again. Killed her. Okay. And when the cops showed up, you know what the guy said to the cops? I'm so glad that you're here. I was getting scammed. Hard story for me to talk about, but something that I needed to share with all of you because, I don't want this to happen to you or someone you love on both ends. All right, coming up. Oh my gosh, I have so many great things I want to share with you. I have a free photo search tool that you just have to use to believe to find pictures of yourself online. We're going to talk about how safe is your aircraft's Wi-Fi when you're traveling out and about, what your hotel key holds about you. Also, a new iPhone setting that you're going to want to set on your phone just in case your phone ever gets lost or stolen. Then we have your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Komando. Okay, I want you to remember this web address. Okay, winfromkim.com. Winfromkim.com. Say it with me. Winfromkim.com, because you are going to win from Kim. And so in order to do that, you have to go to winfromkim.com. Now, why are you going there? Because I am giving away, I know, it's so incredible. I want to give you a brand new iPhone 15. Yes, a brand new iPhone 15. But you have to enter to win. You have to go to winfromkim.com. Now, when you do, there's a bit of a catch, is that if you don't already get my free newsletter, you have to get one issue. That's all, just one issue. You can unsubscribe after that if you don't like it, which I know you're going to love it. I know you're going to love it because it's just so fun to read. Once again, that's winfromkim.com. All right, let's get started with Nancy in Chicago, Illinois.
Well, I get your daily newsletter. I love it. And in my advancing years, I think you keep me ahead of some of the ones that think they're so smart with tech that are 20, 30, 40 years younger. So I appreciate you very much. I have a good question for you. I am in the process of trying to prepare my family for the end of my life stage. And I have some documents that I wanted to upload somewhere in cyberspace, like my trust, maybe a list of where the passwords are found, so that they can maybe discontinue things should it happen planned or a sudden thing. Mm-hmm. And I need to know how all the kids would need to have access remotely. Two of them are especially far away, and then there's one closer. But however, to get to our stuff, I'm uploading documents. I don't keep papers here at the house, really. I want to know how or what can I set up that they can get to that I'm not worried that they're going to lose the password to, or they'll always have, and I can keep it live and update it. I don't know how to trust that they'll always have this information. What do people use for that? And do you have something?
Well, here's the deal. Is number one, I don't know your kids, but normally if there are multiple children in the family, is that you're going to pick one person to be the person in charge of the trust, right? And the estate. Okay. Yeah. And so that one person is really the only person that needs to have access to all of your documents, because it's their job to do what you wanted them to do, right? Sometimes when you have multiple people that have access to everything, that it can cause confusion. And so I just want to lay it out there. When my mother passed away, is that, there were 4 kids in the family. I was in charge. I'm still in charge because I'm still finishing up some things. And so I got the estate document and went through all of her wishes step by step. And then I gave my siblings a copy of the areas that were pertinent to them. So it's just something for you to think about, because, when somebody passes away, emotions are very high, right? And so we want to make sure that everybody's on an even keel. So that's the first thing. Now, you say you want to put everything in the cloud so that this way they have access to it. We just want to make sure that you're using a service like Dropbox or OneDrive, so you can put all of your files in the cloud, okay? Mm-hmm. And then you can use Keeper Security, a password program that is a sponsor, and I recommend them, where you can set up emergency access for up to 5 contacts. And then the emergency access is granted up to 3 months per contact, okay? So in your estate documents or someplace else, is that you could give a password. In your Keeper password, you could have provide access to the documents in the cloud. Now, you said that you didn't want to deal with paper, okay? Sometimes things like these, especially if it's a complicated will, complicated estate, it might be better served on paper, because you have the ability to actually have a book and it's organized. And then it becomes, where do you get the passwords that you need? I found it incredibly helpful that my mother had a password book, okay? An actual book. In that, under A, it said AT&T, America Online, Medicare, life insurance, whatever it was. And so I had full access to her accounts. That being
we use Keeper now. It's not the secure one, where I pay annually. Okay. We use that now. And the reason I was, just to clarify, in case of house fire or something, I don't have a safe here.
Oh, I see. So, okay. All right. I understand, because she kept that book in my safe. So it made, and she also lived with me. So it was a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the case for my mother, too. And what she did with her trust, I was the executor.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm trying to do the same favor to my kids, only remotely, because they may not be here in a timely way anyway. So that's kind of where I was going.
So what you're going to do is you're going to put everything in a Dropbox or OneDrive. Probably Dropbox would be the easiest one. And then I'm going to give you a link to set up Keeper Security with emergency access. Just one tip that I'm going to give you and pass along, Nancy, is that, and maybe you saw this with your mom as well, is that try to keep, they need to keep your phone number active as long as possible, as long as they need to, because so many of these accounts that they're going to be wanting to access and take a look at, they're going to be sending a two-factor authentication code because it's going to be access that nobody has ever gotten to this Dropbox before, right? And so you're going to want to make sure that they have everything that's, they have all the tools that they need in order to, fulfill your wishes and what you want. And I know we're not talking about a happy subject here. I get all that. But, it's going to happen to us all. Guaranteed. Nancy, thanks for your call today. If you need any help afterwards, just remember, I'm always here for you. All right, on your iPhone, what I want you to do is make sure that you turn on stolen device protection. Here's how it works. If your phone is stolen and it's not in a location where you are normally at home or at work, the passcode alone will not unlock it. So to turn this on, go to Face ID and passcode inside your settings, enter your passcode, and then find stolen device protection. Once again, that's stolen device protection. If you need all those steps, just search for it over at Komando.com. All right, still to come, a free photo search tool you're going to love to see here on the Kim Komando Show.
Ever tried reading while jogging, cooking, or even juggling flaming torches? Yeah, it doesn't end well. But with audiobooks.com, you can conquer books without the circus act. Dive into over 450,000 titles, including more than 10,000 free ones. Get hooked on a bestseller, find your next obsession, or finally read that classic you've been avoiding since high school. And here's the inside scoop. Sign up today for a free 30-day trial and snag your first 3 audiobooks on the house. Sign up for your free trial at audiobooks.com/podcastfree today. That's audiobooks.com/podcastfree.
All right, coming up, how safe is the Wi-Fi on an airplane? I've got that answer coming up, as well as there's a tool on the web. You can upload a picture of yourself, and then it will tell you everywhere else that picture appears online. Oh, yeah, pretty frightening. And before we get back to all of your phone calls, let's talk about your hotel key. What exactly does the information hold on that key? What is on there? Well, it carries a tiny, unique identifier, and this connects to a database in the hotel system. So whenever you swipe or tap that card, the system takes a quick look at that unique identifier and checks to see if it matches the database. Does this in a split second, because if everything's good, the door just will open for you. But does it remember anything about you? No, it's just a middleman. It contains that identifier, and that's it. But if you're worried about it before you leave, you could take the key with you, or you can just go ahead and just, cut it in half, split it in half, or just use the hotel key on your phone. You can avoid it altogether. All right, let's talk about AI-generated images. We talked about it here at the top of the show and deep fakes. And AI is frequently used to exploit real individuals' identities, because here's what it can do. It could take somebody's face and then just put it on somebody else's body. So whatever that face was doing at that time had nothing to do with that body's doing, but they can just make it all just look seamless, just right together. And I'll tell you, it doesn't take long. You don't need Photoshop skills. A recent analysis says that 98% of deepfake videos are pornographic. Women and girls are the victims 99% of the cases. And that's what happened to activist and survivor Breeze Lou. Now, let me tell you, Breeze is a smart, Berkeley-educated woman who was secretly recorded while she was undressing. I had a chance to speak to her for my podcast, Kim Komando Today. Here, take a listen. So tell us exactly what happened.
It all started back in 2020. It was a beautiful spring afternoon. I was just really sitting at home, and then I got a Facebook message from a friend, and then he said, "You need to drop everything that you're doing and get on a phone call with me right now." I called him, and then he told me, "I don't want you to panic, but there is a video of you circulating on Pornhub." So, and when I first found out about it, it was really devastating. And I tried to commit suicide. And yeah, so that's how everything started.
And then did you know who put it on Pornhub?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you go to the police?
Yeah. So I did go to the police, and it wasn't very helpful. To give you a bit of information about my background, I majored in peace and conflict studies at UC Berkeley, very well educated. And before I started my own company, I was a very successful venture capitalist in the technology industry. And when I brought this to the police, I was very calm and very, I was just laying out the facts. But instead of trying to track down the perpetrator of this crime, which I have very strong evidence for, the police, they asked me, "Have you ever engaged in prostitution? Do you ever exchange money for nude videos of yourself?"
Wow.
Which is,
insulting, to say the least.
Yeah, it was dehumanizing.
What did it take to get the video down from Pornhub?
So when I confronted the perpetrator, he immediately removed it himself, the original video, which, become a direct piece of evidence pointed to who did it. Because at the time I was confronting him, like that, video on Pornhub, it shows it's removed by the uploader. It doesn't just stop there. It procreated itself kind of on Pornhub and other malicious websites. And it was very difficult to remove all of them because it just keeps showing up at different places. And my action to confront the perpetrator pissed him off, and he decided to threaten me, and he did threaten me with gangsters, and he also decided to create more deepfake porns of me and spread it all over the internet, and it ended up on at least over 800 links all over the internet.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a wildfire.
So over what period of time did this happen? Because you mentioned 2020. Was this all just like a snowball in 3 months or 6 months, or did it go on after that?
Yeah, it went on and on and on. It just it doesn't stop. So, obviously the police, because when I called the police and the perpetrator noticed the law enforcement didn't care about this issue, he realized he could just do whatever he wants. So, that's why it didn't just stop with that one video. It turned out to be deep fake porns and everything. So, so this has exposed a very huge issue in our society. When we fail to hold the perpetrators accountable, they realize there's nothing to deter them, and they will keep, making even fake videos of you, because my action to seek justice provoked him. So, I wanted to, point out that the injustice I have suffered wasn't just the crime itself. It was also, the slut shaming in the process to seek justice. It was also, while I was trying to build solutions, you keep facing walls, and people just don't take it seriously. And then the more you try to do the right thing, I thought I did everything that a normal person could do in her power, the more, they try to put you down. And
so you decided to, I guess, build your own tool, because there is no real tool to go through. Well, let me ask you a question. Is there a tool that you could say, here's my face, and show me every instance of where I am deep faked on these sites?
Currently, there is no tools like that. That's what we're trying to build. So because, the internet is a very, very, big place. So, you can't just say, you can, find everything. So it is a very challenging task. And more importantly is, after you find out about it, how do you remove it? That is why, with my company, we're trying to establish direct partnership with, the big players, so that when we discover that, we can take action. Because what happened to me was although, eventually I was able to find a lot of these videos or deep fake porns of myself out there, I couldn't remove it. So, I had to pretty much beg all around the world for people to help me, because I'm personally not mentally stable enough to deal with all of that content. So yeah, I wanted to build the tool that survivors, that I did not have access to in my darkest hour. So that's why I decided to create Electo AI.
Boy, it would have to just be devastating. To have this happen. And did you not have any recourse against the person who uploaded it? Nothing at all?
No.
So now you said you found over
So-
800 different instances of the deep fake porn. And I read in one article that you had pinpointed about 145 of them to one company that held them on their servers. Were you successful at all in getting any of them removed off the internet?
So with the help of a organization, we were successful in terms of removing hundreds of those links, but those 142 links were actually hosted on Microsoft Azure. And so when the organization, which is it's a French organization funded by the French government and the EU, and when they try to reach out to Microsoft on my behalf, Microsoft refused to remove those things. So it was Microsoft,
Wow.
if you could believe that.
Wow.
Yeah. So when the big tech companies are telling you that they don't have the tools, they don't have the technology, or to remove it, that is absolutely a lie. I worked in tech all my life, and I can tell you, when I'm telling them this is me, remove it. They refuse to remove it. Microsoft. Yeah.
You really need to hear the entire interview. It's very telling. What she's trying to do, what she's trying to accomplish, what happened to her. Let me tell you, this can happen to anybody, really. She was just undressing and some wacko took a whole video of her and then she ended up deep faked on all the porno sites. You want to hear the whole thing, trust me. You can find Kim Komando today on Apple, Amazon, YouTube Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's just perfect. It really is just perfect for when you're out driving, walking, gardening, just hanging out at the house. Again, that's Kim Komando today, wherever you get your podcasts. All right. If your next vacation includes flying, of course, you're going to hop on the airplane's Wi-Fi, assuming it works. Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating when it doesn't, right? But is the Wi-Fi safe enough for you to conduct important business, personal business? Well, airborne Wi-Fi is as unsafe as public Wi-Fi. I want you to remember that. So if you just want to send or receive email, browse the web, use social media, you can do that, but avoid all financial transactions. So you're saying well, I just fire up ExpressVPN on the plane. Well, it's not the VPN's fault, but as the airplane's going out and about, sometimes the VPN can just drop off in flight. So you just want to keep that in mind. Make sure you're always updated with the latest antivirus software because hackers can scan your computer, steal your passwords. So the safest in-flight activity is old school. Have a drink, read a magazine. All right, still to come, a free photo search tool that you're just going to have to check out here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, Tim in Austin, Texas. Glad to have you with us.
Listen, love your show, long-time listener, first-time caller. I've got an upcoming wedding. My son is getting married in Ireland.
Oh, how
leaving
fun.
in a couple of weeks.
That's great.
Yes, we're very excited. And my wife's been doing all the heavy lifting as far as the planning and the train tickets and the ferry tickets and all the different things that we're going to see. We've got several family members that are coming with us, including my son and soon-to-be daughter-in-law. And when we looked at cell phone coverage or mobile phone coverage through our carrier, it just seemed outrageously expensive. Kind of like the when you rent a car and they've got that thing in the car that if you go through one toll, then they charge you a certain amount every day plus the tolls and all that other mess.
Yeah, exactly. So who's your carrier?
It's AT&T.
Okay. And so they have an international plan that's $10 a day. And so for 2 weeks, you're looking at, $140.
Well, per line.
Yes, right. That's correct.
Right. So we're looking for an alternative, and if there is a better alternative, and we've looked at a couple of things and seen different posts.
Oh, for sure.
Using
you can use
a physical SIM card or an eSIM card
yes, exactly.
or a temp phone.
Yeah, and so it depends upon what phone that you have, and you have to make sure that it's not locked down to the carrier first. And AT&T, if you give them a call, and because it's under them, they can tell you whether it's locked down or not, as well as, you can look it up yourself by just looking at the serial number. But eSIM cards are, eSIM meaning like electronic SIM, okay, versus a physical SIM card. Most modern phones right now, they will give you an eSIM card. It depends, like you said, it's $140 per line. Now, what's the price difference? Normally, you're going to get an eSIM card. It'll give you like 30 gigs of data, and voice for 14 days, it's going to run you about $50. So you're looking at $50 per line. Alternative, what some people do when they travel is that they keep the phone on airplane mode the whole time and only use Wi-Fi. So if that's something that it may be palatable to you or maybe to somebody in your family, it's like, okay, maybe we don't spend the $50. There's also different plans that you can probably reduce that down to $30 for the 14 days if you're only looking at maybe, say, half of the gigs, maybe 12 gigs in voice for 14 days. So does that sound better?
Yeah, that definitely sounds better. We just want to have the connectivity because there's so many people that are going and, it's like, hey, where are you? I'm not sure. I think I missed my train, that kind of matter.
Oh, for sure. And it's, and I'll tell you, it's really handy to be able to not worry about, all the data and the charges and things. Oh, just a quick tip for you, a couple of tips. This is number one. Make sure that you turn off all the background refreshing that may be happening on your apps. I'm talking about if you have Facebook or, Instagram, weather, traffic, Google Voice, Google Drive, anything that you have running on your phone. Because the background refresh, what that's doing is that it's just keeping everything all current for you. But you may not need to keep everything all current, maybe except for just, say, Google Maps, right? Or maybe the train app, whatever it may be. And so this way you're not going to be going over on your data limit that you have on an eSIM card. The other thing, too, is keep a close watch on your phone. I'm not really worried about it in Ireland, but a friend of mine was in Rome recently. And she was with her teenage daughter, and they were taking pictures of each other right there by the Colosseum. And so a stranger walked by and said, hey, you want me to take the photo of the two of you? And of course she said, oh yeah, I'd love to have a picture of, me and my daughter in front of the Coliseum. Anyway, she handed the phone and the kid ran away. Okay.
Wow.
So it's like, because, if you think about it, you're just handed somebody $1,000, right? $1,500. So, and so it's not just this only, not like this only happens in Rome. We had a caller recently whose his wife was in Chile, and she was just standing on the street holding her phone trying to look at Google Maps, and then a kid on a bicycle just came by and swiped it right out of her hand. Wow. Yeah, I'll tell you. Hang on the line, and we'll go ahead and give you some links where you can take a look at some eSIM cards, Tim, and congratulations on the wedding and safe travels. Oh, Ireland. I love Ireland. Kissed the Blarney Stone myself. And when I was just a kid, the first time I did it, my dad leaned over and he looked at me and he's like, she's the last person that needed to kiss the Blarney Stone. I guess he's probably right. What if I told you could find photos of you or anyone you know in just a split second at pimeyes.com? Once again, that's pimeyes.com. You just take a photo using your webcam or your camera, whatever it be, your phone, and then you upload a photo of yourself or anyone else. And then PimEyes will go out on the web to find those pictures or any that are like it or similar. And some photos you may even be wearing glasses, and PimEyes will go ahead and find it anyway. So that's pimeyes.com, PIMEYES.com. Now, there is a pay version. You don't need to pay. Just try the free version because that's enough for you to be like, whoa, what's going on with this? And don't forget to enter to win the brand new iPhone. That address is winfromkim.com, winfromkim.com. Well, wasn't that great? I know you loved it. And just a reminder, you can get my show on your local radio station or get the Kim Komando Show as a commercial-free podcast in two places. Number one, Team Apple. Sign up over at Apple Podcasts. Just search for Kim Komando Show. Now, Team Android folks, you can listen to the show as part of the Komando community. Just head to community.komando.com. Once again, that's community.komando.com.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.